two sons, an older son and a younger son. And at one point he decides to give his all his money, everything that they were going to inherit, all at once to them right away, right now, and just keep it. I don't need anything. I'm not going to keep anything. So might as well just give you now. The older son said, "Very well, Dad. Let's protect it. Let's keep it." And the younger son said, "Let's go spend it." And let's go spend it. So he went into the world and did all the fun things, all the distractions, all the toys that the world has to offer, with that premise that because the world has all these distractions and all these toys to sell you all these things, because it's on the premise that you're not enough in the first place, that you're not complete in the first place. They need to sell you things to make you feel better, to think better, to be better. And he was having a lot of fun, but eventually he got bored and he got in trouble, a lot of trouble, and he said, "You know what, Dad, I'm coming home." And the dad said, like, of course he's welcome. So he killed the fattest calf there and made this whole feast to receive the prodigals, the wasteful son. And at that point, the older son said, "Wait, Dad, what do you mean? Like, I stayed here, I protected everything, I didn't lose anything, and he's coming back, and you're making him a feast, like a celebration. What is the point of it? What is the deal?" He said, "Don't worry, son. Now, you're a good boy. Just stay here with me. You always be here with me." He's like, "You're fine. Just don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing." And the wasteful son comes back and tells the father everything, all the mistakes and everything that he learned, everything that he has done. And the father said, "That's all right, son. You were lost and now you're found." Well, if you interpret this story literally, there's not that much to it. You're gonna think like, oh, the father was unfair and this and that, but the psychological meaning behind the story would be the same narrative, the same story. You are the father. You are enough. You have everything. You don't need everything that you have. You can give them away and you will be fine. You are the father. And the older son is your intellect, like half of your brain, if you will, half of you. The responsible part, the conscious part that is growing, that is conscious of the perspective, the reality that presents itself. It's there, and try to make sense of this material world and everything in it. But he cannot understand the significance of the journey of the younger brother, because eventually you have to lose yourself to find yourself. You don't know your own value. The world out there is telling you your value, but you're the only one that really knows, that can really take responsibility for it, and really know what it is that you are, what it is that you're going to become, and where you're going. Rest on your belly again. And facing up again on your back, looking at the stars. Roll on your back. Knees to your chest, hug them in and roll left and right. Roll the knees to the right side fetal position. And with your right hand, you're going to grab the outside of your left foot like this. So the left knee is bending quite a bit. And you extend the left arm to the left until the left shoulder comes down too. Eventually, as you look to the left, both shoulders will be heavy, flat on the ground like that. As you keep holding this left foot, grab a hold of your right foot underneath you with your left hand. The left hand grabs the right foot underneath you. Keep the right foot, keep the left foot where it is. The left foot stays there. But pull the right foot to the left and separate your legs as much as you can. Then let go of the right foot, still holding the left, but with less tension in your right arm, less tension in your right shoulder. Just do the minimum, just to keep the foot in your hand still. And let your left ear roll to the ground. The left ear comes down too. So eventually you find yourself. Eventually you realize who you actually are, how powerful you actually are, what your superpowers are. Eventually you climb so high, you have walked and climbed and lived so much that you climb so high that you have such an amazing perspective. It might make you realize amazing, amazing things. I like in particular the realizations of Steve Jobs just before he ran out of time. Just before he ran out of time, he wrote his last words, and I really, really enjoy them. I think they really summarize the human experience just before we ran out of time. Where were you before time? And where were you after this time? Where are you going to be after this? As your right knee is still bending, place your left foot on your right thigh and let the left knee roll to the left. The left knee falls to the left, towards the right foot. Maybe the left foot is on your thigh. Maybe the left foot is on your right calf. Maybe on the ground, but inside of the leg. Let the left knee come down on its own. Make sure the left knee is not pointing up, but falling towards the right foot. And switch off your hips just like you do with your shoulders. Do whatever you want with your arm and relax deeply. I have Steve Jobs' words here. Let's share them. Steve Jobs said, in the eyes of others, my life is a symbol of success. However, apart from all the work, I have very little joy. My wealth is simply something I'm accustomed to. At this time, with this sickness and remembering all my life, I realize all the riches I was once so proud of they all have become insignificant now with my imminent death. Only now I understand that once you have enough money, you should seek things more important than wealth, such as stories and memories of love, art, knowledge, and childhood dreams. Stop prioritizing wealth. It will only turn you into a twisted being just like me. I like how he uses the word twisted, a twisted being, like a disjointed, like a loose axle, little unhinged. God has made us one way. God has made us one way, and we can feel the love in the heart of each of us, but we cannot feel the illusions built by money or fame like I made my life. You cannot feel that in everyone. All I can take are the memories that were strengthened by love, which is the true wealth that will give you strength to go on. Love has no limits, and so that's when life has no limits. So go where your heart tells you to go. Everything is in your heart, as in your hands. If you have money, you can always pay others to do everything for you, but you can't pay anyone to love more for you and take your illness. Material things lost, they can be found. The only thing that is given to you that cannot be found, you cannot find when you lose, is life. It is that precious. Be well with everyone. Be kind to everyone. That's what you're going to remember. Or making your missions, that's what you're going to remember. That's what you're going to remember. So he ends with, seek love and treasure everyone. Treasure everyone. Like if you were connected to everyone. Just like if you were, because you are, you precisely are. Raise the left knee slowly and hug the knees to your chest again. Roll left and right. So eventually, Steve Jobs also returned to himself, to his actual self. Self-realization. Flat on your back, Shavasana. Preparing for Shavasana. The gaze is in the center of the forehead. The breath is much lighter. The body is much lighter. From our friends, we get high. We get high with a little help of our friends, and we keep getting higher and higher with a little higher perspective and a higher one and a higher perspective next. And an even higher perspective next. Visualize that jewel on your belly button again. Visualize this jewel connected to all the other jewels, like Indra's net. Every jewel of this web, of this net, and every node is the reflection of all the other jewels in that one. In a process of reflection ad infinitum. Just like when you have some mirrors and you see yourself in a mirror over and over and over and over again until you're very, very small, tiny, and going away with all your reflections, going and disappearing into the infinite. That's the reflection on every jewel. It reflects all the others. Eventually, we come to our actual selves. Eventually, we come to the center. In the center, just like in the center, in the eye of a hurricane, where everything is calm. Or outside of the hurricane, where everything is also calm and time is different. gravity pulls you to the center of this planet, but in outer space, outside of this planet, time is different. The perspective is different. If you spend a few years there, it's going to pass a few decades here on Earth. Time is different. When you're away from the hurricane, when you're away from the circle, when you're away from all the affairs and all the hurricane, all the things that surround the center there, where you can have perspective of everything else. Planet Earth, at this moment, at this precise moment, it does not look at all the way it used to be from outer space, for instance. From outer space, the planet Earth used to appear completely. These days, it looks like a bee's hive with human technology, satellites and trash all over the globe. You can barely see it. There's so much trash right now in orbit, around the orbit of this planet. But from a higher perspective, you get out of all this, out of this hurricane, out of all of this debris and everything else, higher, a little higher. It's up to you, it's just up to you. It's in your heart, it's in your hands, in you. Eventually, you don't even feel your body, you don't even feel your breath anymore. Eventually, your body is no longer, but your consciousness remains. Perhaps a simulation already, a play in the microcosmos of the macrocosmos, maybe a play already of what is going to happen when this body is no longer. Maybe it's like waking up from a dream, from illusion, from things that make you think that you are one thing when you're actually not, when you're something else, much more powerful, much more capable than they made you think. So take responsibility and think for yourself. Think for yourself, because I'll be there with you. We're all connected, we're all together.